Hey, what's up everybody? Captain Nathaniel Lemmon, FloridaSightFishing.com. Longtime charter captain here on Florida's East Coast, and we're right here at the tail end of March, getting ready to start April, and it's time to bring you another fishing report. I actually haven't done one in a couple months, and there's a lot to update you on what's happened with our winter and what's going to go on with our spring and what you can kind of expect over the next couple months. So I'm going to kind of jump right into it because I've lived here in Florida for 26 years, and this is probably the second coldest winter I can remember. Pardon my French, but it was freezing ass cold for most of January and February. We had a morning of 22 degrees, we had a morning of 24 degrees. I think we had 8 frost at my house already this year. Our water temperature got down to 42 degrees. Now, what does all that mean? Well, you can kind of see, maybe here on the background behind me, there's some mangroves that are brown. We did have a mangrove die off from the freeze. There's a lot of mangroves in different places where they're dead now, that it got too cold for them. We did have a fish kill. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it could be. 42 degree water is usually the death nail for a lot of fish, but we did lose some big trout, not very many. We did lose some snook, maybe about 25% of the population, but I guess if there was a saving grace, we had a lot of cold in January before we had that really hard freeze, that a lot of the fish had kind of moved their way to some deeper water to survive anyway, and then when the main hard freeze came, they were kind of already out of harm's way. But we did still lose some of them in those areas. But with the coldest weather we've had in 15 years, that's usually a once in a decade type fishing event, and that cold weather meant we were seeing some of the biggest schools of fish that you could possibly see. I fished 3 schools of fish after the hard freeze, and all of them had between 500 and 1,000 fish. So that led to some great catching. We haven't really had any bad days this winter, or getting into the spring now. But it's just kind of changing up what we're targeting and where we're targeting them, and that'll continue to change throughout the spring. So I'm going to just jump right in, talk to you about each fish and how we've been doing with those, and show you some pictures, some clients that have been out with me. So redfish and black drum were the 2 main things that we've targeted all year. It has been gigantic schools of redfish and black drum this winter. Here's a client, actually I'll throw this one in. This is a client that hadn't fished with me in a couple years. He wanted to come out and do a trip with his daughter. We had a banner day catching 10 to 20 pound black drum. I think they caught 15 of them, so here's a picture of them. This was a new client that I took him to the same group. I mean, it was a group of 400 black drum that are all this size. He had a great day catching some of these. I'm not a humongous fan of fishing black drum, but I take advantage of them when they're around. But when there's schools of 400, 500, 600, up to 1,000 black drum, yeah, you definitely want to seize that opportunity. Here's one of my clients that comes in town every year for the races. One of his priorities is to catch some fish, but hopefully take one back to the dinner table. So here's a nice drum that we finished out the day with, that he was able to go have some lunch with. Most of you know I am a big catch and release guy, but I don't mind if we keep a fish here and there. So did my best to make sure that he didn't go without having a meal this year. These are some other people that I have that come down for the races every year, a father and 2 sons. We've been fishing together several years. We had a day, man. A school of 1,000 black drum in 4 hours. I think we had caught 35 of them. So here's a picture of the 2 boys with a double. So you can see the black drum can provide some easy catching. They don't tend to run like a redfish does in terms of like the school moving off and have to relocate them hundreds and hundreds of yards away. They tend to sit still for us and provide some good action for everybody. A little bit about black drum as we get more into the spring, schools tend to break up and they're not as prevalent, and eventually they all tend to disappear. So we're kind of in the last month or so of the year that I really even spend any time trying to catch them. But if it's something you want to do, winter time and early spring is the best time of the year to do that. Here, let's start talking about some redfish, because we're having a fantastic spring, winter and spring for redfish. Humongous schools. I mean, multiple schools of 200 to 300 fish we had all winter. You could just ride around until you found a school that nobody else was fishing. We've had a lot of grass come back in the lagoon, so as it's warmed up, those fish have moved up into the grass flats and are tailing, and we're having some great sight casting opportunities. This is actually a trip that I did with a longtime client and his wife. It was really cold. We didn't even start till about 9 in the morning. We went to a shoreline that there must have been 1,000 fish there. We caught 60 redfish before we even left. Nothing huge, up to about 20, 22 inches. But after we caught 60, I said, let's move on to do something else. We moved down to a school of black drum. There was about 80 fish, and they ended up pulling out two really nice 10 to 15 pound black drum to finish out their day. But I mean, a 60 redfish day, kind of hard to go wrong with that. This was a client that he lives in Jacksonville, comes down a few times a year to fish with me. He came down right after the week that we were having the hard freeze. I took him into a spot, and when we pulled in there, I kid you not, there was 1,000 redfish in this hole that were, I mean, absolutely ravenous. We caught 30 to 35 of them. He was by himself throwing shrimp at them. I was standing over his shoulder throwing a lure, and we were doubling up every time. So here's a really pretty picture. You can see how clean the water was after that freeze. I mean, it was like crystal clear Bahamas type water. So here's a picture of him with some of the redfish that we caught that day. This is another one of my regular clients. He fishes with me once a month. Took him into another little spot. It had a group of 300 to 400 redfish in there. Man, we had a time sight casting these on lures and redfish. In fact, I told him, I think these fish are biting so well, you could probably do a one-man double. So he threw out, caught one fish, had another rod sitting beside him as he was catching that one, shoved the rod between his knees, fired out another cast, hooked up again, and I told him, this is your chance for that picture. So here's a picture of him with a redfish in each hand. This is another client that comes over and fishes with his son. They're from the Central Florida area. Actually, I took them to the same place as this one, or the last picture, and again, 300 fish. They caught over 20, 25 redfish in there that morning. Here's another client. They actually live here in Volusia County. They came out and spent a day with me in the wintertime. A school of 300 redfish working across the grass flat. Again, another 20 to 25 redfish day with them. So that tended to be the average, end of December, January, first half to first third, maybe about 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks of February. I was averaging 20, 25, 30 redfish every day. So you can definitely see we were in the fish, big schools of fish. I mean, the water is crystal clear. So now that it's warming up, those schools are tending to break up. Schools that were 300, 400, 500 fish are now down to 50 to 100 fish, or 25 to 50. And that'll be the main trend. The schools kind of increase or decrease based on our water levels. But I don't want to forget this one. This is a client that came out with me. Actually, here's a couple fly charters. This client, he fishes with me again, too, about once a month, lives here local. He's been learning to fly fish. I've been teaching him how to do it. He went home, did some practice casting. We started off the second day we tried. He caught about 10 trout on fly. Took him to a school of black drum. He caught a nice big black drum on fly, and then we finished out with a school of about 200 redfish that were flashing away in some big sandy areas. And here's a picture of him with his first redfish on fly. So not only did he get a fish on fly, we caught a slam that day on fly. Took this client out, and again another fly trip, and we ended up doing the same thing. Actually caught a lot of trout on fly. He hooked a big black drum on fly, and then this was right before it was supposed to get cold. So I took him to where I thought there might be some snook, because I thought maybe these might be the last snook we catch before they all die. Well, they survived, but he did catch a couple snook on fly. So here's a picture of him with a snook on fly. So as we get more into spring, we're going to start doing a lot more snook fishing. In fact, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but this past week I've been averaging like 20, 30 snook a day. It's been a fantastic bite for snook the last week or 10 days. That should get better as we get through March into April. The sizes are just going to continue to get bigger. I had one day last week, folks, we caught 45 snook. 12 of them were keeper size. We released them all, but we caught 45 snook, several trout. Heck of a banner day. And that hopefully is a sign that we had enough snook survive that we can count on them to be a reliable kind of thing that we can continue to target. All this, I'll just finish up talking about snook. A lot of the snook that live up between Ponce Inlet and this north end of Mosquito Lagoon, they tended to survive because they had already dropped out into some deeper channels, and they get an influx of ocean water coming in with the tide, so that water stayed warmer for them where they were able to survive it up that way. Down here we don't have as much tide, so the snook that decided to ride it out in shallow water, they did not make it. The ones that made it to deep water, most of them made it, some of them still died. But, you know, as you'll see me targeting snook a lot more over this March, April, May, June time frame, in which I can share some pictures with you then. Don't want to let all the secrets out just yet on whether the good bite is going on. We would like to finish that bite out before everybody else finds out about it. So, covered redfish, black drum, and snook. We're starting to catch some more trout. Did have a client catch a 29-inch trout recently. We're headed my trip today. We probably caught about 12 to 15 trout, up to about 20 inches. So it's a mixed bag of sizes. But as we get more into the summer, especially the end of May, June, July, we're really going to go start targeting those big gator trout, the ones that are over in that 25 to 30 inch range. And we'll start doing a lot more focus on trout as we get into the next couple months. The only other thing that's going to change over the next couple months is we'll start targeting some more bigger redfish. We started catching a few in the last couple weeks. I've been posting some pictures of some 35 to 40 inch redfish we've been catching on the flats, which, hey, I'm happy, really happy to be seeing big schools of bull reds showing up on our flats again. That used to be always the way we fished them. Then we started fishing them in deeper water. Now they're returning to the flats again, and I'd much rather sight cast 35 to 40 inch redfish tailing up in 2 feet of water than targeting them, you know, fishing near the inlet or around the bridges or in deep water. So that'll be something that we continue to do here over the next, for the rest of the summer. Should be seeing a lot more pictures of big redfish with me. I think that pretty much covers it. I'm sure there's a few more pictures that I forgot to talk about. If I did, I'll throw those over my shoulder here. It's been a great year. I mean, I've been super busy. This is our busiest time of the year. We are smack dab into the summer, getting into that spring, summer busy season. So definitely don't wait till last minute to kind of get with me. I'm full for March. April is mostly full. I think I have 2 days left open. May is getting pretty full. I have about 10 days left open for May, and then May, June, July, August are the 3 busiest months of the year. I mean, I'm full book, 6 days every week. I take 1 day off a week, 6 days every week. So don't wait till last minute to try and schedule with me. If you want to get on the calendar, you got to do it well in advance. All right. So hopefully you like this report. Did take a couple months off because we've been busy. It's been cold, and I didn't really feel like sitting out here in the cold to do a video. But it's warming up now, so we can start making some more regular and current updates for you. All right, so if you want to fish with me, I'm going to throw some contact info up here for you now. My phone number is 386-212-4931. You're welcome to call me, leave a voicemail, shoot me a text message. My website is floridasightfishing.com. All my info's on there, including rates, how to get in touch with me. You can see reports and pictures from years past. So definitely check out my website, floridasightfishing.com. Send me an email. And beyond that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the channel, definitely give it a subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be spending the day out here with you on the boat. Beautiful springtime weather, so if you're looking to avoid the snow, get down here and spend the day with me here in Florida, out here in the Mosquito Lagoon or the River Lagoon, and let's catch a bunch of fish this year. All right, so until then, tight line.